YouTube, what's up everybody? So today I'm back with a new video. As I explained in my last video, What's up YouTube, it's Pierre and I'm back with a new video. As I explained in my last video, I was really curious and interested in testing out the X8 and seeing how it compared to the H5 Studio. So guess what I did? Picked up the X8. With that being said, this video is definitely going to be shorter. We're pretty much going to get straight into it. There are plenty of videos that talk about the X8, so you can easily look it up if you need like a review or anything like that. But I will just do a quick overview. You know, many of you have seen this design for XLR ports. I would say overall the build quality is pretty similar to Zoom and all the other Tascams. Design wise, I definitely like this better than Zoom. And also just some quick points. Without a doubt, menu system on this 10 times better. It's very modern. This thing is so easy to use. Think of this basically as like having a smartphone in a recorder. So ease of use, all of that, menu system 10 times better. It's going to be the X8 all day, every day. A cool thing about this is they actually have modes on here. So they have like a voice mode, ASMR mode, manual, of course, different little modes that kind of help people get started. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. So as you can see, I got both recorders in front of me. So for the sake of this test on the X8, we're just going to use manual mode. All right, so for the sake of this test, we're pretty much just I'm gonna put both of these on a tripod just like I have them set up. And I'm just gonna speak directly into the microphones. I'm gonna keep the gain at +5 on both, and we're just gonna get straight to it. This has been recorded in 24-bit mode, so not 32-bit, but 24-bit. I'm getting ready to switch to the audio of the Tascam X8. I'm gonna just move it in front of me a little bit. Let me know what y'all think about the audio. Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm back with a new video. Right now we're testing out the Tascam X8. This is using the built-in onboard microphones. How do I sound? Especially as it compares to the DJI Mic 2, but also the Zoom that I'm about to plug up. Right now I'm speaking directly in front of it. I'm not touching the microphone. It's just literally in front of me. Good to go? What do y'all think? Now I'm going to stop it. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing. Let's go to the studio. What's up everybody? It's your boy Pierre. As you can see, this is a Zoom H5 Studio. Let me know if you hear a difference. Zoom versus Tascam. That's what we're doing. And the reason I wanted to compare these recorders is, honestly, I feel like this is kind of like Tascam's best one and this is Zoom's best one. Price is pretty similar. Some people will say you get more features. Some people will say this has better preamp. So, hey, why not compare them and just do audio tests and let's get to the nitty gritty. With that being said, how does this sound? On the original test, I think pretty much everyone agreed that the Zoom, of course, sounded better than the Mic 2s on the DJIs. But hey, I think we anticipated that. But what do you think as it relates to the Tascam? So let me know. Again, this is the onboard mics on the Tascam. And the gain is set to 5 on here. So now I'm going to turn it off. So now I'm going to get to a more fun part of the test. I think the biggest part is people want to hear how the microphones sound when you actually plug them in. So let's get them. All right, so now we're going to literally switch to the Rode NTG5 on the Tascam X8. What's going on, everybody? I'm back with a new video. How do you think the audio sounds? Again, the gain is definitely set to the same thing. So +5 on here. Right now I'm talking directly into the Rode NTG5. Again, I'm recording on the Tascam X8. Does it sound better than the Zoom H5 Studio? Or, I mean, are they about the same? What do you think? Again, I'm not going to do any post-processing with these videos. If it's too low, I may add a little bit gain. Of course, I'll notate it, but nothing crazy. I just wanted to do a pure audio test because at the end of the day, it's all about what these devices sound like. And I definitely like the menu better on the Tascam X8, but it's all about audio quality. So again, what do y'all think about the audio quality? I'm pretty much speaking directly into this microphone, and now I'm about to switch it to the H5 Studio. All right, so I just switched literally to the H5 Studio. Let me know if you hear a difference. Now on the last one, I was talking like this a little bit or like this a little bit, so just keep that in mind. But I'm going to put it right here, and going forward, we'll do this as well. What do you think about the audio? Again, this is the Rode NTG5. A lot of people in the comments loved how the the H5 Studio sounded, but for this particular test, we're comparing the two and figuring out if one of them sounds better or if they are the same. You know, one of the big selling points on the H5 Studio is the fact that it now has the F series preamps, which are supposed to be better. But let's see how they, sound compared to the X8. I think the X8 has a lot of features that people will like. For example, well, I guess one of the biggest ones is the 4 XLR ports. I mean, this has a built-in speaker. Not that any of us will probably use it, but it's still nice to have. With that being said, I'm going to switch to the other microphones now. All right, so I wonder what y'all are feeling so far, but let's get straight to it. I think my absolute favorite microphone and also my most expensive microphone is definitely this MKH. And a couple of people hit me up on Instagram, man, how did you get that microphone? Saved up my money and worked for it. But as I've said, I'm an independent filmmaker, so a lot of the equipment that I have gathered over the years has just been through, taking money from work, investing, and really just believing in myself to get better things. All right, this is the moment of truth. Now we're using the MKH50 on the Tascam X8. What do y'all think about this microphone, this whole setup? How does it sound? I mean, we know how it sounds on that device, but how does it sound on this one? Do you like it? This is really the microphone I'm going to be using for my audio on my short film. Like I said, on the outside scenes, I'll probably use the Rode NTG, but I've even heard in some cases that people will have success with the MKH50 outside as well, as long as it doesn't have like heavy wind or anything like that. So I may end up using this for the whole film. We will see. But stay tuned. The movie's going to be pretty dope. How do y'all feel about the audio? I think the X8 is definitely enticing. But at the end of the day, it's all about the audio. So make sure you're listening with headphones. Please use headphones. But yeah, I think that's enough for this one. Let's go ahead and switch to the H5 Studio. All right, so now we back with the big boy. This is the one that, people liked for sure. But how's the audio sounding? I thought about actually writing a script, and I said, you know what? Let's just freestyle it. At the end of the day, quality is quality. And if you're listening with headphones, you should be able to hear the quality. How do y'all think the preamps compare? Are we hearing those F-Series preamps? Like, what does the Tascam sound like? Of course, when you're recording it live, I can't hear anything. I'm just kind of going with the flow. But do y'all hear a difference? Is it making a difference? Not so much, so much. What do you think? I like both recorders. I think a lot of people have commented this in the past. Just imagine if Zoom updated the interface on here to match that. Man, that's going to be that would definitely be a modern recorder. And maybe they'll do that in the future. For now, it seems like they're just simply sticking with what has worked. That being said, I said it. But what do you think about the quality on this one? Again, the microphone is placed directly in front of me. Whereas, of course, if we were, if I was filming a short, it would be more like this, but we'll just put it in front for these tests. What do y'all think? Is there that much of an audio difference? And also, like I said, the reason I wanted to do a video like this is the last video got, such good feedback. Why not do it? Like I said, one of these will be going back. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. Just got to see how they sound. At the end of the day, we can clean up in post, but we want to see what it sounds like naturally. So this should be a big enough audio sample. Let's go ahead and stop it. So off rip, one of the things I noticed on the Zoom, you just press the record button to stop. Tascam, you actually have to hit the stop button. Not sure if that makes a difference, but it's just something I wanted to note. But now we'll get straight to it. Let me bring over the SM7B and let's see how they sound. So I can tell you right off the bat, I'm having to adjust the settings on the X8. We all know the Shure requires a lot of power, so I actually had it in low power mode as far as the input, but I had to switch it to high in order to even see it coming up on the screen. So what I had to do on the X8, immediately I went ahead and I put it into high for the input gain, and I switched it to about plus 45 dB. And this has it where it's still green. Yes. If I yell, it gets to yellow. If not, it stays green. So we're just going to record it there. And then what I'll do to compensate on here, I'll just put it to like maybe like 8, and then we'll just see how it sounds. What's up, everybody? Now I'm using the Shure SM7B recorded directly into the Tascam X8. I think even when I used it on the H5 Studio, it was a bit low. Of course, neither of these compare when I use something like my Rodecaster Pro Duo, but I can just only imagine how much power that Rodecaster has in terms of, man, when I use this mic on a Rodecaster, no hiss, no nothing. It's just clean, clean before you even have to add anything to it. And not that these small portable recorders are supposed to even have that kind of power, but I think it was just interesting to try a microphone like this, just because you never know, right? Let's say you are maybe shooting a video, some content, you don't want to bring the Rodecaster Pro 2, you want something smaller. Can you get it done with something like this? I think that's important. Keep in mind, you can use a cloud lifter or something like that if you want to, but we're just focusing on how it sounds directly out of the box, because in the past I've definitely recorded a podcast on the go and I've just taken the whole Rodecaster, because you can actually power it up with like an external battery. With that being said, how does it sound? Like I said, the gain is a bit boosted on here, still not clipping or anything like that, but I'm just curious, how does it sound? And like I said, listen with headphones, because let me know. I like good audio, but I'm not an audio expert. To me, I'm usually playing off the ear. If something sounds good, it sounds good. To me, what sounds good is, no background noise, no hissing. I like that clear, kind of warm, vocally feeling. Like, I call it studio quality. Being that I've always liked music and was heavy into it at one point, I just prefer studio quality audio. Bad quality audio literally hurts my ears. But what I've realized is some people don't care how bad the audio sounds. They just like hearing stuff. So let me know how it sounds. Again, this is directly into the X8. I'm really loving the X8, but it's all about sound quality. So that's what it comes down to. And when I say loving the X8, I definitely prefer the design of the X8 over the Zoom. But at the end of the day, it's about quality. The design is not super important. Although it would be cool to have a touchscreen, but we don't need a touchscreen. And the fact that you can like link this to your phone and just use your phone screen, it's convenient, it's easy, it's simple. I think creating is all about simplicity. I tell people all the time, if you want to maximize productivity and consistency, you have to get the things that make it convenient and easy to create. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this audio sample. Now I'm going to switch to the Zoom H5 Studio. And I just want to point out one of the cool things about the Tascam too, and maybe it's like this on the Zoom, I just haven't noticed it. But if you turn on your phantom power, then turn off the device, when you power it back on, it will ask you, hey, do you want to keep the phantom power on? I think little things like that are just important. Now for this, we're going to try to give it a little bit more gain. Well, first, let me go into the menu. Let me see if there's maybe a setting to boost the gain. Even to like basically a setting that kind of matches that high input mode. Let me just see if that exists on here. I don't see it on here, so we're not going to worry about it. Now, I will say before I get into this final piece of the test, the menu system is super simplified on here. It's very straight to the point. So it's not, it's pretty, but it's straight to the point. At the end of the day, we want something that's straight to the point. Let's get into it. All right, so I've adjusted the gain. Right now I have the knob set to 8 on the Zoom H5 Studio. Again, we're trying to see how the audio sounds directly out of the device, right? With no post-production. If it's too low, when I take it onto the computer, I will lift it and I will let people know. But the goal is to see, how do these devices sound out of the box? For most of us, we're going to use these devices out of the box, because for some people, if the quality is that much better on here, it probably makes sense to just get 2 additional XLR ports if you need them. But in most cases, I think 1 XLR port is fine. Well, not 1 XLR port, I meant 2. But it's like at the same time, who wouldn't want 4? With that being said, how do y'all feel about the audio? How does it sound? I think it's important to note which one has the best quality. Because at the end of the day, quality is what matters. It's all about quality. It's all about producing quality. Now, I will say, for anyone who's making ASMR content, I think either one of these would work. And surprisingly, I like ASMR stuff, but I didn't realize that people had full videos playing with microphones and stuff like that. That is definitely interesting. That being said, I'm going to take this into the computer. Let's see how it sounds. All right, so now we're back on the DJI Mic 2. So what I want to know is, what do you think sounds better? For me personally, I don't know. I guess for me, when I listen to it on the computer, that's when I'll have a better idea in terms of what I'm going to keep. But I don't think you can go wrong with either device. But if we're talking about quality, it just depends, right? So let me listen to this and I'll come back and record this last part. All right, so I just got done putting together this video and I wanted to go ahead and put my afterthoughts on here. So to be honest, after listening to both of these on the computer, I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think if you want something newer, the H5 Studio is cool. If you want something with more modern features, the X8 is definitely the move. Honestly, when it comes to the audio, I think I might like the onboard microphones a little bit better on the X8. But also, like I said, I'm not an audiophile. So what I do notice is you have more control on the X8. It's like the way it's reading the gain is a little bit different, so you can push it a lot higher. Whereas on the Zoom, you know, it just goes from 0 to 10. So I think that may have something to do with the preamps. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But what I noticed, honestly, across the onboard microphones, slight difference, when using the Rode or the Sennheiser, to me they both sound virtually identical. Even with the SM7B, right? On that microphone, I hear a hiss on both of them. So I think if your goal is to use that microphone without a hiss, you probably will have to go with something like a Rodecaster Pro 2, because I hear the hiss on both of those. So if I'm just comparing all the other microphones, I think they virtually sound identical. I think it really just depends on which device you want. One of the biggest reasons I would want multiple XLR ports on something like an X8 is to use multiple mics on, say, like a podcast setup. If you're going to do that, however, you're probably going to want a different mic opposed to the Shure SM7B. So maybe like even Rode's podcast mic or a different mic, because to run that particular mic, you're going to get a hiss on either device. Bottom line, both devices sound great. Which one am I keeping? I'm honestly not sure. I'm really honestly not sure. I think I might keep the X8, but I'm still debating, because I like the fact that this has multiple ports, but like I say, that's only useful from a podcast perspective. Another thing I like about this one is the fact that it does have a cold shoe mount right there, or at least I think that's a cold shoe. I'm pretty sure it is. Not sure why you would need a cold shoe mount on a recorder, but it's nice to have. Menu system, hands down, on this is better. Like I said, it's easier to use. It even has preset modes. I like the Zoom H5 Studio as well, but I think it's something to say. It's something to be said. That device, I think this device is like 4 years older, and they basically sound identical. And like I said, this is with the F-Series preamps. So that should tell you a lot about what Tascam is doing. Overall, not sure what device I'm going to keep. I think I'm leaning towards the X8. Mainly being because I didn't hear that much of an audio difference. So I'm thinking from a filmmaking perspective, in terms of me shooting a film, I would probably be smarter to go with what is actually simpler and more user-friendly. Even though, like I say, they both are pretty user-friendly, this just has a couple more features. Yeah, but I'm curious though. Y'all had time to listen to the video. What do you think sounds better? And like I said, I hope everybody listened with headphones. I will say this, and this is super unfortunate. Listening to both of these makes me dislike my DJI Mic 2, and this is my favorite wireless mic by far. But comparing all of them, it's like there's no comparison. The audio recorder is just better in every way. But I want to know, what do y'all think sounds better? Like I said, I think I'm going to just keep this one and ship this back. I like Zoom. I like Zoom products, but it's like the fact that you have a touchscreen. This just seems like the obvious winner. Now, I'm not sure how that affects battery life. Bigger screen, maybe it'll last not as long, but I mean, it's just something to think about. I do want to know from y'all's perspective. Like I said, y'all had a chance to listen to both. What do y'all think sounds better? Yeah, literally, like, what do y'all think sounds better? Anyway, let me know in the comments below. I want to add one additional test to this video, something just for people who really want to dig into the audio. I'm just going to record silently the noise profile of all of these with those mics, and I'll just put that at the end of the video. Aside from this, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Peace out.